She thought I'd never find out about her bachelorette weekend, but one video changed everything, and what I did next left everyone stunned. My name's Garrett. I'm 29, work as an agricultural economist for one of the largest sustainable farming consultancies in the Midwest. It's the kind of job where precision matters. One miscalculation in yield projections or resource allocation can cost millions. I'm good at it because I don't make emotional decisions. I gather data, analyze patterns, and execute solutions. That skill set is about to serve me well in my personal life. 4 years ago, I met Sienna at a conference in Minneapolis. She was presenting on pediatric occupational therapy interventions for rural communities. I was presenting on economic models for small-scale organic transitions. We ended up at the same terrible hotel bar afterward, bonding over overpriced whiskey and mutual exhaustion. She was brilliant, passionate about her work, and absolutely stunning in that understated way where she didn't seem to know it. We did long distance for 6 months before she relocated to be with me. Not for me, she'd gotten an incredible offer at the Children's Hospital here that she'd have been stupid to turn down. But the timing aligned perfectly. We moved in together after a year, got engaged after 3. The progression felt natural, inevitable even. Our life was good. Really good. Combined income of about $275,000, beautiful downtown loft, regular vacations, matching retirement contributions. We had systems for everything: who cooked which nights, how we split bills, whose family we'd visit for which holidays. I thought we were partners in the truest sense. 2 months ago, Sienna's sister Jocelyn started planning the bachelorette party. Miami, 5 days, 8 women. Sienna was hesitant at first, said it felt excessive. I encouraged her to go. You only get one bachelorette party, I told her. Make it memorable. F. King prophetic, right? She left on a Wednesday, sent me regular updates. Pictures by the pool Thursday afternoon. Group dinner Friday night. Spa day Saturday. She called me Saturday evening, slightly drunk but coherent, telling me how much she missed me and couldn't wait to be my wife. Sunday was supposed to be beach and relaxation before their Monday morning flight. She got back Monday afternoon. I picked her up from the airport. She was tired but glowing. Showed me dozens of photos on the drive home, standard bachelorette stuff. Matching shirts, champagne brunches, sunset beach photos. She'd even brought me back a bottle of rum from a distillery they'd visited. Everything was perfect for exactly 8 days. The following Tuesday, I was in a meeting with 3 major clients when my phone started vibrating incessantly. Not calls, Instagram notifications. I'd turned off most social media alerts months ago to focus on wedding prep, but Instagram was still active because Sienna liked to tag me in wedding-related posts. I excused myself to the bathroom and checked my phone. 17 message requests, all from accounts I didn't recognize. The first one I opened changed everything. Bro, is this your fiancé? Attached was a video. I stood in that corporate bathroom stall and watched my entire future dissolve in 4 minutes and 23 seconds of high-definition footage. The video started with a timestamp, Sunday, 1:47 a.m. Not Saturday night bleeding into Sunday morning. Full Sunday, when she was supposedly recovering at the hotel before their flight. The location was clearly a high-end club, the kind with bottle service and velvet ropes. Sienna was in the center of a VIP section, wearing a dress I'd never seen before, black, barely there, nothing like what she'd packed. She was straddling some guy on a couch while another man poured champagne down her throat. Her bridesmaids were cheering. The camera caught everything that happened next in excruciating detail. I'm not going to describe the sexual acts. What matters is that it wasn't a momentary lapse. The video showed systematic degradation over the course of hours. Multiple men. Different positions. At one point, she looked directly at Brianna who was filming and said, "Delete this tomorrow, okay? Garrett would F. King die." Then she laughed. I threw up in that stall. Quietly, controlled, then washed my face and returned to my meeting. Closed a $2.3 million contract while my entire personal life was imploding in my pocket. That's the thing about being truly furious. If you're cold enough about it, you can compartmentalize anything. After the meeting, I sat in my car and watched the video 3 more times. Frame by frame in some parts. I screen recorded it, uploaded it to 3 different cloud services, emailed it to an encrypted account, and saved it on 2 USB drives. Then I started investigating. The Instagram account that sent it was created that day, anonymous, no posts. The other messages were from similar burner accounts, all with pieces of the same night. Different angles, different moments. Someone at that club wanted me to know. I hired a private investigator that afternoon. Not to follow Sienna, to trace the source of the videos. Within 24 hours, he had answers. The original footage came from a promoter at the Miami club who'd been recording for the venue's social media. He'd captured everything on professional equipment, then noticed the bride-to-be wasn't exactly acting like someone about to get married. He found my information through Sienna's tagged photos and created the burner accounts. Why? I asked him when we talked on a secure line. Because I've got a sister, he said. And if she was doing this, I'd want her fiancé to know. I asked him for everything he had. He sent me an additional hour of footage from multiple angles, plus still photos. The metadata was intact, proving timing and location. He also sent me receipts. Sienna had charged $8,400 to her credit card at that club. Bottle service, VIP room, and something listed as special amenities that I didn't want to think too hard about. For the next week, I continued life as normal. Went to work, came home, had dinner with Sienna, discussed wedding details. She had no idea anything was wrong because I gave her nothing. Not a cold shoulder, not extra attention, exactly the same level of interaction as always. I kissed her goodbye each morning and hello each evening. I listened to her complain about work and celebrated her securing a grant for her therapy program. I even had sex with her twice, though I had to imagine someone else to get through it. During this time, I was methodically preparing. First, I consulted my lawyer. Colorado is a no-fault state, and we weren't married yet, so the legal implications were minimal. The condo was in my name only. I'd bought it before we met and never added her. Joint accounts only contained about $3,000 for shared expenses. The only complex asset was the wedding itself. Second, I documented everything. Not just the videos, but our entire relationship financial history. Who paid for what, when, and how much. I pulled 3 years of bank statements, credit card records, and receipts. Built a spreadsheet showing I'd contributed 64% of our shared expenses despite us agreeing to 50-50. She owed me approximately $37,000 when everything was tallied. Third, I contacted every wedding vendor personally. Explained there was a situation developing and asked about cancellation policies. Most were sympathetic without knowing details. The caterer, photographer, and florist agreed to hold the cancellation pending my final word. The venue was non-refundable, but they offered to keep the deposit as credit for a future event. Fourth, I prepared for multiple contingencies. If she found out early. If her family intervened. If she tried to spin it publicly. I had responses ready for every scenario. The rehearsal dinner was in 3 days. 47 guests at her parents' country club. I'd already submitted my toast video to the AV team, telling them it was a surprise montage of our relationship. They tested it on their system to ensure compatibility. It worked perfectly. Yesterday, Sienna came home from her final dress fitting absolutely radiant. 2 more days, baby. She squealed, throwing her arms around me. 2 more days until forever. I held her close, smelled her perfume, the same one she was wearing in the Miami videos, and said, I can't wait. She pulled back, looked at me with those green eyes that used to make me melt, and said, you know I love you more than anything, right? You're my whole world. I know exactly who you are, I replied. She took it as a declaration of love. It wasn't. Tomorrow is the rehearsal dinner. Everyone thinks I'm nervous about the speech. Keith, her father, even pulled me aside last week to say, don't overthink it, son. Just speak from the heart. I plan to do exactly that. The video montage is 3 minutes long. The first minute is our actual relationship, meeting, dates, the proposal. Beautiful, romantic, exactly what everyone expects. The next 2 minutes are Miami. Uncut. Unedited. Undeniable. I've already moved everything irreplaceable from the condo. My important documents, grandmother's watch, photo albums from before Sienna. Clothes and furniture can be replaced. I've hired movers for Saturday morning. When we should be exchanging vows, they'll be removing every trace of her from my home. My brother Wade is on standby with his truck. My friend Theo has a couch ready. My office knows I'll be taking next week off for personal reasons instead of a honeymoon. Some might say I should just call off the wedding quietly, be the bigger person, minimize the damage. But here's what those people don't understand. Sienna didn't just cheat, she planned it, executed it, and then came home and played the loving fiancé for 2 months. She looked me in the eyes every day knowing what she'd done. She let me continue planning our future while she had already destroyed it. The disrespect requires reciprocity. Tomorrow night, at approximately 8:45 p.m., surrounded by everyone she cares about, Sienna will learn what I learned in that bathroom stall. Some betrayals are so complete, so thoughtless, that they deserve to be exposed in the brightest possible light. I'm not destroying her life. I'm simply ensuring that everyone knows who did. Update 1, posted 2 weeks ago. The rehearsal dinner was last night. It went exactly as planned, which is to say, it was a precision strike that left no survivors. I arrived at 6 p.m. sharp, wearing the navy suit Sienna had picked out for me months ago. Shook hands with her relatives, embraced my parents who'd flown in from Bozeman, made small talk with the wedding party. Sienna was radiant in a white sundress, flitting between groups, occasionally catching my eye and smiling. Every time she did, I smiled back and raised my glass slightly. She had no idea she was drinking to her own funeral. Dinner was served at 7. 3 courses, excellent wine selection that Keith had personally curated. Sienna sat next to me, her hand on my thigh under the table, occasionally squeezing when someone made a joke about married life. Her father gave the first toast, welcoming me to the family with genuine warmth. My father followed, talking about how he knew I'd found the one when I couldn't stop talking about her after that Minneapolis conference. Then Jocelyn stood up, slightly drunk already, and delivered a rambling speech about sisterhood and how Sienna deserved all the happiness in the world. The irony was delicious. At 8:35, the MC announced it was time for my toast. I stood, tapped my champagne glass, and waited for silence. The room settled, all eyes on me. Sienna was beaming, already dabbing at her eyes in anticipation of whatever romantic declaration I was about to make. "Thank you all for being here," I began, my voice perfectly steady. "Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. And I wanted to share with you all the journey that brought us here." I opened my laptop, already connected to the projection system. I've prepared a video that I think captures our relationship perfectly. The first minute played exactly as expected. Photos of our early dates, video clips from trips, that moment at her cousin's wedding where we're slow dancing and she's laughing at something I whispered. The room was full of soft AWs and quiet chuckles. Sienna squeezed my hand, tears now flowing freely down her cheeks. Then the screen went black for 2 seconds. When it resumed, the audio hit first, club music, loud and aggressive. Then the image focused, Sienna in that black dress, grinding against a man who definitely wasn't me. The room went absolutely silent except for the video audio, where you could clearly hear Brianna yelling, "Get it, bride-to-be." I let it play for 15 seconds, long enough for everyone to fully grasp what they were seeing. Then I paused it. The silence was deafening. Sienna hadn't moved, hadn't breathed. She was staring at the frozen screen showing her with her tongue down some stranger's throat. "There's another 4 minutes, I said conversationally, as if discussing the weather. "Would you like me to continue, or have we seen enough?" Keith stood up so fast his chair tipped backward. "What the HL is this?" "This," I said, still calm, "is your daughter in Miami. Sunday morning at 2 a.m., when she was supposedly back at the hotel resting." Diane, Sienna's mother, let out a sound I've never heard a human make before, something between a gasp and a scream. Someone's wine glass hit the floor and shattered. Sienna finally found her voice. "Garrett, please, I can explain." "Explain what, exactly?" I pulled out my phone, started reading from my notes. "Explain the $8,400 you spent at that club? Explain the 3 different men you're with in the full video? Explain how you told Brianna to delete everything because I would F-king die if I found out?" Her bridesmaids were in various states of panic. 2 had fled to the bathroom, 1 was crying, Brianna was white as a sheet. Jocelyn had slid so far down in her chair she was practically under the table. "How long have you known?" Sienna whispered. 2 months. Every single day since you got back, I've known exactly who you are. You let me. We've been planning. You acted normal. Yes. I wanted you to feel secure. Safe. The same way I felt before I got that video. I turned to address the room. "I apologize to all of you for ruining your evening. But I couldn't, in good conscience, let you celebrate a marriage built on lies." Keith stepped forward, his banking president persona trying to take control. "Garrett, son, let's discuss this privately. We're not family, Keith. Your daughter made sure of that in Miami." I pulled out the ring box, set it on the table in front of Sienna. "The wedding is cancelled. All vendors have been notified. Your family will be receiving invoices for your 50% of the deposits we won't be getting back." "You can't just," Diane started. "I can and I have. The condo is mine, as you know. Sienna's belongings will be packed and placed in storage by noon tomorrow. The storage unit is paid through the end of the month. After that, it's her responsibility. I looked at Sienna one last time. She was sobbing now, mascara running in black rivers down her cheeks. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Or did you just think I wouldn't have the spine to do anything about it? She couldn't answer. I picked up my jacket, nodded to my parents who were sitting in shocked silence. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry you flew out for nothing. I'll reimburse your flights. As I walked toward the door, Sienna found her voice one more time. Garrett, wait. I love you. I stopped but didn't turn around. No, Sienna. You love the security I provided. You love the life we built. You loved having a safety net while you played trapeze. But you don't love me. If you did, that video wouldn't exist. I left to complete silence. The immediate aftermath was swift and brutal. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. I turned it off and went to Wade's apartment, where he and Theo were waiting with a bottle of Macallan 18. How do you feel? Wade asked after my second scotch. Free, I said, and meant it. By morning, the full scope of the destruction was clear. Brianna had sent me a long, rambling email apologizing and trying to explain that it wasn't supposed to go that far. I didn't respond. Jocelyn left 7 voicemails, each more hysterical than the last, begging me to reconsider because Sienna is destroyed. Keith tried a different approach, a formally worded email threatening legal action for intentional infliction of emotional distress. My lawyer responded with screenshots of Sienna's credit card statements from Miami and a reminder that truth is an absolute defense. The movers arrived at the condo at 8 a.m. Saturday. I supervised while they packed everything of Sienna's. I was meticulous, every item photographed, every box labeled, nothing damaged or discarded. When they found the wedding dress hanging in our closet, still in its preservation bag, I had them pack it with special care. She'd paid for it herself, it was hers to keep. By noon, the condo looked like she'd never lived there. The only evidence of our 4 years together was a small box of photos I'd put aside, not for sentimental reasons, but because my therapist would probably want me to process them eventually. Update 2, posted 1 week ago. It's been a week since the rehearsal dinner. The fallout has been more extensive than even I anticipated. First, the family situation. Keith and Diane are barely speaking to each other. According to a mutual friend who still talks to Jocelyn, Diane blames Keith for raising a daughter with no moral compass while Keith blames Diane for enabling Sienna's party girl tendencies. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but watching them tear each other apart has been an unexpected bonus. Sienna has been staying with them, which apparently isn't going well. She can't escape what happened when both parents are constantly fighting about it. She tried staying with Brianna for 2 nights, but Brianna's boyfriend saw the video and told her Sienna wasn't welcome in their apartment. The other bridesmaids have been notably silent. Second, the professional consequences. Remember how Sienna works at a children's hospital? Well, worked. She wasn't fired, that would be illegal. But she was informed that her contract, which was up for renewal next month, would not be extended. The official reason was budget constraints. The unofficial reason, according to someone in HR who knows Theo, was that 3 board members were at the rehearsal dinner. She's been applying for other positions, but the pediatric therapy community in our city is small. Everyone knows everyone, and everyone knows about Miami. Third, the social media disaster. Sienna made the mistake of trying to control the narrative on Instagram. Posted a long story about how I violated her privacy and turned a mistake into revenge pawn. That might have worked, except one of the Miami promoters still had the unedited club footage and decided to post it on Twitter with the caption, "When you're getting married next week," but the Miami vibes hit different. 47,000 views in 6 hours. Her Instagram went private, then disappeared entirely. Fourth, the financial reckoning. Remember that spreadsheet I made of our expenses? I sent it to her with a simple note, "You owe me $37,000. Payment plan negotiable." She responded through her lawyer saying the amount was unreasonable and unsubstantiated. My lawyer responded with 3 years of bank statements, highlighted and categorized. Her lawyer stopped responding after that. I don't actually expect to see the money. But I want her to know exactly how much she cost me, beyond just the emotional damage. As for me, I'm doing surprisingly well. The first few days were strange, waking up alone in a space that suddenly felt twice as big, reaching for coffee mugs that weren't there because they were hers. But by day 3, I realized something. I was relieved. For 2 months, I'd been performing the role of devoted fiancé while knowing the truth. That cognitive dissonance was exhausting. Now, I could just be myself again. No more pretending, no more swallowing rage, no more looking at her and seeing those videos. I've thrown myself into work with renewed focus. Landed a consulting contract with a vertical farming startup that could revolutionize urban agriculture. My boss, who knew about the wedding, pulled me aside to say he was impressed with how I was handling everything. Most people would be a mess, he said. You're operating at a higher level than before. Trauma can be clarifying if you let it. Wade has been checking on me daily, worried I'm bottling up emotions that will eventually explode. But the truth is, I processed those emotions in the 2 months between discovery and exposure. Every stage of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, I went through them all while Sienna slept next to me, oblivious. By the time I stood up at that rehearsal dinner, I was already on the other side. The most interesting development came yesterday. Brianna reached out again, this time with something substantial. She wanted to meet in person, said she had information I deserved to know. Against my better judgment, I agreed to coffee at a public place downtown. She looked terrible, exhausted, thin, nervous. Started talking before she even sat down. This wasn't the first time. Not even the second. I stirred my coffee. I'm listening. Vegas, 2 years ago. Her conference. New Orleans, 18 months ago. A weekend in Denver last year that she told you was for her cousin's baby shower. There was no baby shower. And you knew about all of this? She nodded, couldn't meet my eyes. We all did. The whole bridal party. It was like this unspoken thing. What Sienna did on girls' trips stayed on girls' trips. Why tell me now? Because she's telling everyone you're some kind of sociopath who planned this elaborate revenge over one mistake. People need to know this was a pattern. And she paused, pulled out her phone. I have receipts. Screenshots of group texts. Sienna bragging about her conquests. Photos from Vegas and Denver. Videos from New Orleans. 3 years of systematic deception, all documented in their private group chat. Send them to me, I said. What are you going to do with them? Nothing. But if she continues to play victim, if she tries to rehabilitate her image at my expense, then I'll reconsider. Brianna sent everything and left without ordering anything. Later that night, I got a text from an unknown number. Brianna told me she gave you everything. Please don't share it. I'll stop talking about what happened. I'll leave you alone. Please. S. I didn't respond. But I did forward the text to my lawyer with a note, admission of guilt and attempt at negotiation. Please file appropriately. Tomorrow would have been our honeymoon. We were supposed to be in Santorini, a trip we'd planned for over a year. I'd gotten refunds on everything except the flights, which I'd booked with points anyway. Instead, I'm going alone. Not to the same resort, that would be masochistic. But to Greece nonetheless. A different island, a different experience. My therapist thinks it's a good idea. Reclaim the time, she said. Make new associations. I'll leave in 6 hours. Act light, downloaded some books on agricultural innovations in Mediterranean climates. Might do some work, might not. Might meet someone, might not. The freedom to choose without considering another person's feelings is intoxicating. Before I leave, I want to share something. A lot of people have messaged asking how I stayed so calm, how I didn't explode when I first saw that video. The truth is, I did explode, internally, privately, completely. But then I made a choice. I could let the rage control me, make me reactive and sloppy. Or I could use it, refine it into something surgical and precise. Sienna thought she was marrying a passive man, someone safe and predictable. She was half right. I am predictable. Predictably logical. Predictably thorough. Predictably unwilling to tolerate disrespect. She learned that too late. Final update, posted 3 days ago. I'm back from Greece. 10 days of solo travel that started as an escape and became something else entirely, a reclamation. But before I get to that, I need to address what happened while I was gone, because Sienna apparently decided that my absence was an opportunity. The extinction burst. In behavioral psychology, there's a phenomenon called an extinction burst, when a behavior that's being eliminated suddenly increases dramatically before disappearing. It's the last desperate gasp of a dying pattern. Sienna's extinction burst was spectacular. Day 2 of my trip, she showed up at my office. Not during business hours, at 6 a.m., waiting by my car in the parking garage. Security footage showed her arriving at 4:30 a.m. When I didn't show, because I was in Mykonos, she waited until 9, then left a letter under my office door. Day 3, she contacted my parents. Drove to Bozeman, showed up at their door crying, begging them to convince me to give her another chance. My father, a man of few words, told her to leave. My mother, typically the softer one, said, "You made your choices in Miami. Now live with them." Day 5, she tried to access our joint checking account, which I'd already closed. When that failed, she went to the bank in person, claiming I'd stolen her money. The bank manager, who knew both of us, calmly showed her the account history. Every withdrawal was hers, every deposit was mine. She left in tears. Day 7, the nuclear option. She created a TikTok video. How my narcissistic ex publicly humiliated me for having a bachelorette party. It was masterfully edited, tears, soft lighting, carefully selected truths mixed with dramatic omissions. What she didn't count on was the Miami promoter who'd originally sent me the footage. He commented with the full, unedited video in the caption, "Having a bachelorette party versus having a train run on you by randos while your fiancé thinks you're at the hotel. Not the same thing, sis." The video was deleted within hours, but the internet is forever. Someone screen recorded everything and posted it on Twitter. Her attempt at rehabilitation became her final humiliation. The Greek revelation. While Sienna was self-destructing, I was healing in ways I didn't expect. I spent my first 3 days in Mykonos doing absolutely nothing productive. Woke up when I wanted, ate when I was hungry, swam in the Aegean, read books on subjects that had nothing to do with agriculture or economics. For the first time in 4 years, I didn't have to consider anyone else's preferences, schedules, or feelings. Day 4, I met Andreas, a local agricultural consultant who'd heard about my work through academic circles. We had dinner, discussed vertical farming applications in arid climates, and he invited me to tour some innovative operations on the mainland. I extended my trip by 3 days. Those farms were revelations, ancient techniques merged with cutting-edge technology, producing yields that shouldn't be possible in that climate. But what struck me most was a conversation with one farmer, an old man named Dmitry who'd been working the same land for 60 years. "You Americans," he said, "you think heartbreak is the end. But look at this olive tree." He pointed to a gnarled, ancient tree that had been split nearly in half by lightning. Struck 7 years ago. Should have died. Instead, it produces our best oil. Trauma changes you, yes. But change isn't death. Sometimes, it's evolution. Pretentious? Maybe. But standing in that grove, looking at that scarred but thriving tree, something shifted in my perspective. The return. I got back yesterday to find 17 missed calls from Keith, 43 emails from various members of Sienna's family, and one handwritten letter slipped under my condo door. The letter was from Sienna. 2 pages, front and back, every word carefully chosen. She admitted to everything: Miami, Vegas, Denver, New Orleans, and others you don't know about. She admitted to viewing me as safe while she explored her wild side. She admitted to never truly respecting me because I was too good, too stable, too predictable. But here's the kicker, she ended with, "Despite all of this, I know we belong together. You're my anchor, Garrett. I need you." She still doesn't get it. I was never her anchor. I was her safety net. There's a difference. I photographed the letter and sent it to my lawyer, then burned the original in my sink. The symbolism felt appropriate. The professional opportunity. Remember that vertical farming startup I mentioned? They offered me a position, Chief Agricultural Officer, equity included, based in Austin. The package is incredible, but more importantly, it's a chance to build something revolutionary from the ground up. I accepted immediately. I leave in 2 weeks. Already have buyers interested in the condo. Turns out, a professionally clean space with no relationship energy shows extremely well. Wade is helping me pack what little I want to keep. Everything else is being sold or donated. Sienna found out through mutual friends. She sent one last text, "Austin isn't that far. Maybe someday." I responded for the first and only time since this began, "The distance between us can't be measured in miles. It's measured in respect, honesty, and basic human decency. You're right that Austin isn't far from here. But you and I? We're on different planets. Lose my number." The lessons. People keep asking me if I regret how I handled things. If I wouldn't have been better off just calling off the wedding quietly, maintaining the high road, being the bigger person. No. Being the bigger person is what cheaters count on. They expect their betrayed partners to absorb the humiliation privately, to protect everyone's reputation, to enable the fiction that it was a mutual decision or that things just didn't work out. F that. Sienna made her choices publicly, in front of her friends, documented on video. She chose to humiliate our relationship. She just assumed I'd never find out. The publicity of her betrayal deserved publicity and its exposure. Actions have consequences, and protecting someone from the natural consequences of their actions isn't kindness, it's enabling. Some have called me cold, calculating, even cruel. They're right about the first two. As for cruel? No. Cruelty would have been releasing the videos publicly, destroying her career systematically, going after her friends and family. I did none of that. I simply told the truth to the people who had a right to know it, at a moment when it would prevent a fraudulent marriage. That's not cruelty. That's justice. The future. I start in Austin in 2 weeks. The apartment I've leased has a view of the hill country, a home office with perfect light, and no memories. My new role involves traveling to agricultural sites worldwide, implementing sustainable solutions for food security. It's work that matters, with people who value precision and honesty. I'm in therapy, not because I'm broken, but because I want to understand why I missed, or ignored, the red flags. There were many, in retrospect. The way she'd guard her phone during girls' nights. How she'd mention male colleagues frequently, then suddenly never mention them again. The credit card charges she'd explain as splitting the bill for everyone that never quite added up. My therapist says I have a tendency to see people as they present themselves rather than as they are. It's a weakness in personal relationships but a strength in business. I take proposals at face value and verify through data, not intuition. We're working on balancing both approaches. As for dating? Not yet. Maybe not for a while. But when I do, it'll be with someone who understands that trust isn't a renewable resource. Once broken, it's gone forever. The final words. To Sienna, who I know reads these through fake accounts, you were right about one thing. I am predictable. Predictably thorough. Predictably logical. Predictably intolerant of betrayal. You thought these qualities made me safe to deceive. Instead, they made me dangerous to underestimate. Enjoy your fresh start, wherever you end up. Maybe you'll learn from this. Maybe you won't. Either way, it's no longer my concern. To everyone else who's reached out with support, thank you. Your stories of similar betrayals and survivals have been illuminating. We're not alone in this, and we're not wrong for demanding respect. To those currently in relationships where something feels off, trust your instincts. Investigate. Verify. And if you find what I found, don't let anyone convince you that the high road requires silence. Sometimes, the high road is paved with uncomfortable truths that need to be spoken. I'm closing this account after this post. This chapter is over, documented and filed away. Austin awaits, and with it, a life built on firmer foundations, ones I've poured myself, tested personally, and trust completely. Sienna taught me something valuable. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And when they betray you, respond with the full force of your capabilities. Not with violence or illegality, but with truth, precision, and completeness. She thought she was marrying a sheep. She discovered she'd engaged a wolf in wool. The disguise is off now, and I'm perfectly comfortable with what's underneath. Goodbye, Reddit. Thank you for witnessing this journey. May your own paths be clearer than mine was. Garrett. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.